Welcome to Match Proven Rifles. I'm Jody Weigel, and today I got a public service announcement for you. I'm going to catch a lot of grief over this one. I can hear it coming already. But I'm going to talk to you about silent capture springs. So, on one of my latest builds, I decided I was going to try silent capture spring. I have not tried them before. I hear people rave about them and all the great things that they do. And I was excited to actually try one. Typically, I run a traditional buffer system with a flat wire spring in my builds because I've had zero problems out of them and they're reliable. But I wanted to try one. So I took my rifle out to the range, got it all set up, and took the first shot. Shot fine. Took the second shot, click, and I could feel it. The hammer hit the back of the BCG and push the BCG forward. Same thing. Huh. Cycled it, shot, same thing. So I was told you can run these things without the buffer retainer pin in them. So I took the buffer retainer pin out, which actually allowed this, and I'll put the pictures up, which actually allowed this to slide out a little bit further, putting more pressure on the back of the BCG, because your natural thought is, well, maybe it's not engaging the back of the BCG enough, putting enough pressure on it. Same problem, exact same problem. Shoot the first one, second one, it would hit the back, the hammer would hit the back of the BCG, knock it forward again. So I'm on the phone with tech support, emailing them, trying to get some information from them. After doing some research, I saw where you could actually, now I'm running this in the rifle link buffer, so I've got the spacer that goes behind it, but you can actually add a spacer to it. So I added another spacer behind that. This was sticking so far out of the buffer tube that I couldn't even close the upper receiver. I had to push this back a little bit, so I know it was making really good contact with the back of the bolt. Same problem. Fired it, first one, second one, click. I'd feel the hammer hit, rock it forward. I finally videoed it, and when I videoed it, what I found was I was getting bolt bounce. And what bolt bounce is, for those of you who don't know, on the back of the, we will pretend this is the BCG. When it fires, this slides back into the buffer tube. It comes back out. It pushes the BCG and the bolt back into battery. It hits so hard into battery, it bounces back out. And it bounces out just enough that you'll get a light primer strike. That's exactly what was happening to me. The BCG would hit and it would bounce out a little bit. I'd pull the trigger, but it would have reset the trigger. The trigger would hit the back of the firing pin and knock it back into battery. There's a reason that this was happening. See, in the original buffer system, you got these weights in there. And these weights serve a very important purpose, okay? Now, on the silent capture spring, this big metal piece right here serves as that weight. The weights that are inside of here. And on some silent capture springs, you can actually adjust the weight for what you want. Because by adjusting the weight, you can speed up or slow down the cyclic rate of your AR. So, but the difference is, this is fixed. These are free moving. So when the rifle fires, it throws this to the rear. When it throws this to the rear, all the weights slide to the front. When the spring pushes it back forward, the inertia pulls those weights to the back. So all those weights are now sitting at the back of this tube. When it locks the BCG into battery, the BCG, initially what happens for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. When it hits, it wants to try to bounce back out. By design, these weights then slide forward and give it a second tap. Just a little love tap to keep it locked into battery. And that was by design. Guess what these do not have? They do not have that same idea built into them. You get one tap, boom, it goes forward. And if it bounces out and it doesn't have enough spring to push it back in, then it stays out. Now, when they come out with a silent capture spring, and I do like the idea of these, that has the free weights that will actually slide back and then come back forward and give it the love tap to, you know, keep it into battery. I'm going to revisit these. But until they do, I'm sticking with old reliable, the traditional buffer with my flat wire spring. It's Jody Weigel, and this is a public service announcement.